Yes, indeed. I couldn't figure out a non-corny way to say it. Welcome to SI Now. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Amy Campbell. We saw Michigan beat Houston on a buzzer beater. Loyola Chicago advanced. Nevada come back from 22 down against Cincinnati. Virginia become the only one seed to lose to a 16 seed. And the top four seeds from one region eliminated before the Sweet 16 for the first time ever. Which leads to a natural question.
Tweet us with our... Sorry.
What is the craziest thing? You're so crazy you couldn't keep track of all of it.
I totally got lost. Okay, the craziest thing that you saw this weekend, and of course we want to hear from you as well. It's our Facebook question of the day. So hit us up on Facebook, not Twitter. We'll read some of the best answers later in the show. And that is exactly also what we're about to ask our college basketball analyst. Jason Capel joins us now to break down all of the madness. Jason, we named a lot of crazy things that happened this weekend. What was the craziest thing that you've ever seen, or that you saw this weekend?
Well, Nevada being down 22 points. They were down in both contests, but to come back against a Cincinnati team that prides itself on defense, that was extraordinary. But you got to go to history, right? The first #1 seed to lose to a 16. UVA dominated the ACC. They clinched the regular season with 2 weeks to go, won the ACC tournament, and then they were simply exposed in that contest. Their defense wasn't there. UMBC spread them out. Jarius Lyles became a star, which we love to see this time of year. Just mind-boggling that a #1 seed that prides itself on defense was shredded for the final 20 minutes of that contest and blown out of the gym in the first round.
You know, to me, it was indicative of some of the changes we might be seeing in college basketball, which shocked me to see 4 seeds from one region, the top 4, go out. And I want to read you a quote from Leonard Hamilton, the head coach of Florida State. He says, "I think what you see happening in college basketball, it's almost like a revolution. Kids are playing basketball all over the country and teams are getting better. Just because maybe they might not be in one particular conference, or maybe they're not considered to be one of the more traditional rich schools, people are playing basketball." And I asked you last week, you know, soon a 16 is going to beat a 1. We saw it happen. We saw all these crazy results. Is it a function of the changing landscape of college basketball overall?
Well, he said revolution, and the revolution is televised, and we're seeing it. And I believe so. And I think the biggest reason, look, there are 900 transfers a year now in college basketball. So these smaller schools have elite players now playing for them. And you're seeing older teams. They've been together for a number of years, good coaches in different conferences. And I don't think it matters anymore. There's so much parity. And this time of year is all about, are you playing your best? Are you connected as a team on both sides of the ball? And we're seeing it already. You talk about that South region, the top 4 teams are at home right now as spectators, and that's indicative of where we're moving now in college basketball with the parity, with good players spread out, not just in the Power 5, but throughout all the leagues in college basketball.
Yeah, there are a lot of teams that maybe we weren't expecting to see this. We're only in the Sweet 16, but we weren't expecting to even see them this far. And a lot of teams that we thought, sure thing they make it through the first weekend, are not there.
Yes.
The highest seed that did not make it through the weekend that you are most surprised by is who?
UVA. Again, this is a team that we expected because of how dominant they were throughout the regular season. Let's be honest, the ACC was the best conference in the country this year. There are 4 teams in the Sweet 16, and UVA dominated that league. Won the regular season with 2 weeks to go, won the ACC tournament. To get knocked out by UMBC, and it's no knock to the Retrievers. They were great, but we expected more from UVA, even without DeAndre Hunter, one of their best players. And then I have to turn to Arizona. I was just disappointed in Arizona. It's a team that had so much talent. They've been through some turmoil, but they had all the ingredients. And just to lay down and be dominated by Buffalo, they didn't show up to play. They were exposed, and give a lot of credit to Nate Oates, the coach at Buffalo, for completely wiping them out in that first round.
Was that more surprising than the result itself, the way those two teams got worked, both Arizona, and basically a reverse cover in the Virginia-UMBC game? Virginia was 20.5-point favorites, lost by 20.
They got dominated. Again, they didn't just lose. If you lose, we've seen some buzzer beaters. Obviously, you talk about Loyola Chicago. They've won 2 games with other buzzer beaters. UVA and Arizona were dominated. The game wasn't close. UVA was close at halftime. UMBC blew it out the water. But Arizona didn't show up to compete. And that's the thing you have to do. At least compete, show up ready to play hard. They didn't do that. They were dominated. It wasn't even a contest for 40 minutes. Buffalo took them off the board from the very opening tip.
Now UVA, one of 2 #1 seeds out alongside Xavier. Now 2 #1 seeds losing before the Sweet 16 for the 4th time ever. But one of the 1 seeds that remains is Villanova, who looks great.
Yes.
Is it now their tournament to lose?
I think Villanova has to be in the driver's seat. And I think they've been in the driver's seat all season. They've been the best team in the country all year, in my opinion. Why? They have a great coach in Jay Wright. They have excellent point guard play, the Big East Player of the Year in Jalen Brunson. Mikal Bridges was a role player. He's a star now. They can play. They can win playing different styles. They can shoot 3-pointers and win in the 90s. They can also grind you out in the half court. They're not going to beat themselves. An excellent team, great guard play, so versatile. But the Duke Blue Devils are not far behind, in my opinion. They're playing great basketball as well, finally committing to the defensive end, and they have a star as well as Marvin Bagley III.
Yeah, and to the chagrin of many, one of the high seeds still remaining is Duke, and Marvin Bagley III is our adrenaline performer presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Marvin Bagley has boosted the the 2 seed, with 2 22-point performances and is shooting 18 of 24 from the floor overall. That's 75%. Plus, he's grabbed 8 boards per contest in the tourney thus far. I know Bagley is the one player who's impressed you the most, but has he played himself into the #1 pick?
Well, that said, the top 5, only top 5 player remaining. Let's not overthink this thing. This kid is the best player in the country, okay? He's a unicorn. He's the prototypical player of what's becoming professional basketball now. 6'11", can knock down 3-point shots, elite athlete, quick jumper, quick twitch muscles. He's a player that's going to be a star, and he's proven it right now on the biggest stage in the NCAA tournament.
Well, he's certainly been a lot of fun to watch so far. Really excited to see him again this weekend.
Yes.
Looking ahead, which low seed do you think is the most dangerous?
Well, I would love to say Texas A&M, the way they handled North Carolina, but Texas A&M was a top 5 team in the country, you know, when you talk about in January. They fell off, but now they're playing good basketball. This Nevada team has something about them, a moxie, a toughness, being down double digits in the first 2 rounds, storming back 22 points to Cincinnati, and the Martin twins were both top 100 players out of Oak Hill Academy. Those 2 guys were rated higher than anybody on Cincinnati's team. They're now playing at Nevada. They're an excellent ball club. They have toughness, togetherness. They do it on both ends with great versatility. I'm looking at Nevada as a team that can continue to advance throughout this tournament.
Well, and it shows a lot coming down from those large amounts both of those times, but that can also just really galvanize a team, and they in that situation next time may not worry about it.
What is it about the zone where Syracuse can only stop people when they're the underseeded team? No one can figure it out when they're a lower seeded team.
Well, it's about, are you comfortable with that zone? And when you think of having 1 day to prepare, the Syracuse zone is long, it's spread out. They contest the 3-point shot, and when you're not accustomed to playing against it, give Coach Boeheim a lot of credit. The times the Qs sneak in, they usually advance well beyond where they entered the tournament. They're doing a great job. They're big 3 when you think of Tyus Battle, as well as Brissett and Howard are playing great basketball, but they're playing against Duke, who's familiar with that zone. Coach Boeheim, Coach K, coaches together with USA Basketball. They may have finally met their match coming up in the Sweet 16, but it's been special to see what they've been able to do from playing in that first 4 game to now being a part of the Sweet 16.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate your time this morning. We'll be back with you later this week for some more bracket autopsy work, I guess.
And hopefully it falls into place and we're not balling up our brackets even more, throwing them away.
Ooh. Another star of the weekend, Sister Jean of Loyola Chicago, has stolen our hearts, but how much faith does she actually have in her team? The Ramblers team chaplain knows her hoops, but in her bracket, she's got them losing in the Sweet 16. Robin, is this a bad sign for Loyola that Sister Jean's picking against them here?
No, I think it's a good sign. They made it there. I mean, most people weren't picking them to go that far, and I got to give Sister Jean a little bit of credit for not picking totally with her heart, obviously using her head a little bit by not having them advance further than the Sweet 16. At this point, anything else for her, for Loyola Chicago, is essentially gravy. I think the Sweet 16 is a heck of a tournament for them.
Oh, so that should be the goal for them. They shouldn't be dreaming bigger and believing that they can make it this whole way.
Well, that's not a good enough reason to make a pick, a dream, or a random belief.
Most people, I feel like, that work for schools or are very passionate fans, as we've clearly seen Sister Jean is, they pick their team to win the whole thing. But I agree with you that I appreciate that she's she's not picking too much with her heart. She did have them there. Maybe she knew something we didn't. Obviously, she did know something we didn't. But one of my favorite things I've seen from her this week is the video of her in the locker room telling them, coaching them up on Tennessee, saying, don't be afraid of their height. You're good jumpers. You're good rebounders. You're good at everything. So she's been so much fun to watch.
But not picking with her emotions. Speaking of emotions, though, Paul Pierce was honored earlier this year. We saw a lot of the championship Celtics he was a part of, but noticeably absent was Ray Allen. And now his former teammate, Rajon Rondo, said this about Allen's forthcoming book. Quote, he just wants attention. He's been retired for whatever years, and now he comes out with a book. People do that in that situation. They need money. He should have hit me up and asked for a loan or something. It's no hard feelings. Well, clearly there are hard feelings, Amy. Why the animosity?
This is like when I start a sentence with no offense, but I'm about to say something that's kind of offensive, but I'm okay with it. It's like, oh, no.
With all due respect.
Right, with all due respect, you know, I'm about to say something disrespectful. Same thing here with the no hard feelings. I think it's funny, though. I always love to hear what Rondo says just because he likes to stir the pot, and he makes me irritated, but I kind of like that he just owns that role. I was reading some of the things that Ray Allen supposedly said in this book about Rondo coming to him and Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and saying that he carried them to that 2008 finals when he was in his second year there, things like that. If I'm Rondo, I'm thinking exactly the same thing. Why don't you come talk to me about it? It's a little petty to put it out there like that.
But when there is a war of words, I tend to side with the guy against Rajon Rondo.
Okay.
He's worn out his welcome in enough situations. Maybe there is still some animosity, though, because remember, after all those playoff battles between the Celtics and LeBron James, Ray Allen wound up going to Miami and becoming LeBron's BFF for part of that run.
Yeah, and LeBron's not really a best friend that you wouldn't want to have. So I think things are working out just fine there for Ray Allen. Elsewhere in the NBA, the Thunder are on a roll. They've won 6 straight after beating the Raptors 132-125 on the road on Sunday. OKC is sitting at 4th in the Western Conference. Robin, do you think they're clicking at the right time?
It sure looks like it, and they've shown they have the ability to beat the best teams in the league. OKC is 5-2 against Golden State, Houston, and Toronto. No one else is even touching that mark. After some struggles, they bring in Corey Brewer, who surprisingly has really elevated them with their pace and defensively has made up for the loss of Robertson a bit there. And then they still have top-flight talent. I mean, we know they added Paul George. I think maybe not in name, but in impact, Steven Adams is kind of a superstar. And then there's that guy, star at least,
okay.
Russell Westbrook. That guy Russell Westbrook there,
Yeah.
I mean, we forget. People want to criticize his game or, you know, knock triple-doubles. He is still one of the best players on the planet. So I don't think anyone looks at a team that has Westbrook and Paul George and Adams and goes, oh, yeah, I'd like to see them in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's definitely something we would like to see. And like we said, sitting there at 4th in the Western Conference, but they're only, 4 games ahead of, 4 games ahead of the 9th place team. The West is so tight right there. The 1 and 2 pretty much locked in, but really interesting there at the bottom. Westbrook said after the game, we need to take it to the next gear. That's what they're doing, but they absolutely have to do that with the schedule they have remaining. They're only playing one team that's not in contention, so everybody's going to be after that win in those games.
We'll find out soon. We'll also find out who the Jets will draft. Their never-ending search for a quarterback continues, and they made a trade over the weekend that could indicate the team thinks it has found the guy, as New York sent the number 6 pick, 2 second-rounders this year, and 1 second-rounder in 2019 to the Colts for the 3rd pick in the upcoming draft. Seems like a lot to move up 3 spots. Was it too much?
I know we have different ideas about this, so I'm really excited to discuss all of it. I think there is nothing that is too much when you have a glaring need and you can get a guy that's going to be a franchise player for you for the foreseeable future. Think about what the Eagles gave up to trade up to get Carson Wentz, and I'm sure there's no way they would say it wasn't worth giving up all those picks. They gave up more than this, as did the Rams when they traded up to get Goff, and I'm sure they would also say, we've got our guy for a very long time. It's worth giving up all those picks. If you don't succeed and hit on all of those other picks, then wouldn't you say that that's not worth it in the future anyway? So I think there's no amount that is too high that you can give up to end up with a franchise star on your team.
You are right, except for that is the exception and not the rule. Generally, those guys don't wind up as the franchise player. I don't think any of these quarterbacks has been identified as a surefire franchise quarterback. If the Jets wind up landing their QB of the future, it isn't too much. If Saquon Barkley, they wind up taking him and he turns out to be, one of the best players of all time, then it's probably not too much. But if this just turns into a good NFL player, it's certainly too much. And I would say the odds say that the Jets will have wound up giving up too much, and this is a good trade for the Indianapolis Colts.
So you think that we will have to look in hindsight to say if it was worth it or not?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really judge any trade until you see the results of said trade. My instinct tells me it's a bad trade for the Jets, but I'm willing to say that that's not the case if they wind up with a guy who goes to the Hall of Fame or something like that.
Well, and they've certainly set the bar very high for that number 2 pick that there's been rumors maybe the Giants want to trade down out of that, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. It'll be really interesting to see. Women's History Month continues, as do our History Month personal essays highlighting women in sports who inspire us. Today, it's another trailblazing female, former WNBA star and current San Antonio Spurs assistant coach, Becky Hammon.
It was June 10th, 1999, at the WNBA season opener between the New York Liberty and the Cleveland Rockers. I was there to see a rookie guard who had been described by Newsday as a pipsqueak All-American from Colorado State. There was 5'6" Becky Hammon chomping on her gum and warming up in the world's most famous arena as if she owned the place. What I saw from Hammon that day was something more than confidence. She was undaunted, unintimidated. She played as if the Garden was as familiar as the concrete slab she grew up shooting on in front of her house in Rapid City, South Dakota. Hammon went on to play 16 seasons and score more than 5,800 points. And in case you haven't heard, Hammon is an assistant coach for the San Antonio Spurs and a frequent candidate for head coaching positions at both men's and women's college teams. It's been fun and inspiring to track her career over the years. And for anyone looking to unlock the secret to building confidence, I have some advice. Watch Becky Hammon.
Well, I think everyone always has something to say. Like when I was injured, everyone's like, oh, is she ever going to play again? Is she ever going to be the same that she was before? And now it's, am I ever going to win another Grand Slam? And you have to kind of just set them aside because at the end of the day, it's, you can only control what you can control. You can only control yourself.
Joined now by tennis star Sloane Stephens, who is here to announce a new partnership with the Built with Chocolate Milk campaign. Sloane, did you drink any chocolate milk to get ready for this interview?
Yes. Actually, I just came for practice, so I was drinking chocolate milk on the way home.
You know, and it's a recovery drink, right? You know, and bouncing back for you, you lost early at Indian Wells and have struggled a little bit since your amazing U.S. Open win to capture your first Grand Slam. What's been the issue, and how are you working to turn it around?
Well, I think after the U.S. Open, I think was super overwhelming, not playing for 11 months and then obviously winning a Grand Slam, not something that I was intending to do. I think I was just happy to be playing again, and I was like working my way back, and then all of a sudden you win a Grand Slam and everything changes. So I wasn't 100% healthy when I came back, but I just wanted to be on the court so badly, and I think I didn't take enough time for myself after the U.S. Open. So, you know, obviously recovery and taking care of your body is so important, and I think that's why the partnership with chocolate milk is amazing, because it's something that I actually do use and I'm super passionate about. So it's definitely helped me bounce back. So I think it's a really awesome thing.
And you have a chance to get that swagger back at the Miami Open. How are you feeling heading into it?
I'm so excited. Obviously, I grew up in Florida, so I have a lot of friends and family down there. So I'm super excited to get back there. The weather's amazing. It's another great tournament. You know, just being able to play in the States is incredible, and back-to-back tournaments in the States is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Now, currently, you're ranked number 13th in the world rankings. What do you think of that number?
That's pretty good. Not bad. I mean, not too many. Only one person this week can say that they're ranked 13th in the world. So it's honestly not a bad thing. Obviously, I'd like to improve and get better. But I'm just really looking forward to playing a full season, healthy, and just getting back on the court and being able to play every week.
All right, you recently said you only wanted to play about another 5 years on the tour, in part because you wanted to have a baby, but watching Serena Williams might cause you to reevaluate. You've had a little bit of an up and down relationship with Serena in the past. How is that relationship now?
It's fine. Obviously, I'm so happy for her. Having a baby is probably the most incredible thing you can do. I don't know if I'm going to stop in 5 years to have a baby. That was just like something that we were talking about. But I definitely think that I'm super happy for her. Obviously, being a mom is incredible. So, yeah, I'm happy for her, and that's really all. I mean, hopefully she wins another Grand Slam or something, and then I can be like, oh, I'm going to have a baby and come back, so I can do that too.
Now, can you draw a direct line from Serena and all the success she's had, the type of role model she is for others, to you, the first American to win a major event like that on U.S. soil in a long time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Venus and Serena, they've been incredible for our sport. Honestly, Serena being the greatest athlete probably of all time. She's been an incredible role model for women, for tennis, for our sport. So I think, just being able to play at the same time as her and Venus. Venus has been amazing for our game. I think it's just been a real honor and just a treat to be able to share the court with them on a number of occasions. Now, chocolate milk, obviously delicious, though I bet you there are people out there who are skeptical of it as a sports drink. Why are they wrong? Well, it's scientifically proven to help you recover faster. So I think that's one thing that it helps really well with recovery, and it tastes amazing. So who wouldn't want to drink chocolate milk as their recovery drink? Well, good luck with the chocolate milk, and good luck at the Miami Open. Sloane Stephens, appreciate the time. Thank you. We see your comments coming in. Here are some from Facebook. Doug Peter says, it just shows how the seeding process is an absolute joke. Big teams went down this weekend. It's all a scam. The bracketology and seed placement is a scam in favor of Vegas, as well as paid bracket tournaments. It's all a scam. That's an elaborate scam. Maybe the FBI should investigate. Arnold says, Villanova is going to win it all. You heard from me first. Well, we heard from you, Arnold. I wouldn't say I heard that from you first. And Stonewall Jackson says, Loyola will eliminate Nevada.
Oh, I think Sister Jean's bracket would say otherwise, so I'm guessing she's probably hoping that she's wrong.
Well, she has Loyola out in the Sweet 16, though. So, I mean, if we're looking at Sister Jean's bracket.
So far, she's been right, but hopefully she's wrong this time for their sake.
We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully that's not wrong. 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time right here on SI Now Live. In the meantime, check out the latest videos and updates via Twitter @SI Now Live.